An entitled Karen complains to city council and runs a business out of town. This is something that is actually happening right now currently in my life. A little backstory for you before I actually get into the story. I have two friends who have recently closed down their business to relocate elsewhere due to what is happening currently. My friends who had this business for over a year now were not living in my town locally, but they gained the trust and friendship of most people who were local. They welcomed anyone and everyone who stepped in and were always willing to stop by for a chat if they saw you on the street. Now to get to the real story. So basically, I had found out from my friend, who is one half of the business, that they've been receiving constant complaints about many things. One being a parking space outside of this shop, which my friend would normally use for her car, and a few of the locals were whining about this and going off about them hogging said parking space, which nobody had used before anyway. The second complaint I had heard about was the fact that there had been a bench outside on the sidewalk, along with a flower trough full of lovely flowers, which was in fact bringing more color to the area. And somehow from what I heard, one specific local then complained this to the local council, when the local council in fact does not own the sidewalk, but it belongs to the landlady who owns the property that my friend was renting from her business. What makes me laugh is that nobody actually uses the sidewalk anyway. Everyone tends to walk on the other side from that. This walkway is blocked by what looks like two barriers, one or two cars owned by people who think that it's alright to park at an angle at the end of the sidewalk. I've also seen cars that are actually halfway parked on the sidewalk and the road at the same time, and they're complaining about a bench and a few flowers. This is not the first time it's happened either. My landlady used to own part of the building, and she'd have complaints filed against her for having flower troughs on the same place of the sidewalk, which I will repeat, does not belong to the council. Doesn't this seem like a double standard to you? Myself and other supportive locals couldn't talk these nice people into staying permanently, but they have made the decision to remain open from Wednesday up until the end of May as a last goodbye sort of thing, which is honestly a shame. What is wrong with people? These people literally just put a bench out and some flowers to try and bring some kind of variety to the area. And the fact that they're parking in a public parking spot and people are complaining about it is kind of disgusting. How entitled do you have to be to complain about something that you don't own and that you don't use? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it really sucks that these people are being driven out of a town. I've lived in small towns like that where the local businesses suffer because of everybody else's complaints, and it's not a pretty sight. It's typically the type of town that will never grow because of these people. And if I were a business owner, I wouldn't want to be in that environment either.
The full version of the video is on the Am I the Jerk YouTube channel, so check out the link in the description for that. And if there are any updates, that's what they'll be too. But if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Am I the Genius is on YouTube, but there's also a podcast version of it just like Am I the Jerk. So if you're already subbed to Am I the Genius on YouTube, just search for Am I the Genius on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you use.